Hi, I'm Tom, and welcome back to Clan of the Cave Brewer. Today we're going to have our first Cave Talk Tuesday. Now that's a section in my channel that's going to be devoted to talking about beer and talking about different styles of beer and the history of beer and where they're going, what they're becoming, sub-styles within the styles. And today we're going to talk about one of the most loved and most hated style, the IPA. So what is an IPA? An IPA is an acronym that means Indian Pale Ale. So why is it called an IPA? Well, the Indian Pale Ale originated in England. During England's occupation of India, it was one of the most common styles to be shipped to the colonies over in India. Hops offer a great natural protection to beer because they act as a natural preservative. In order to make beer, you need a fairly temperate to cool climate. Beer needs to ferment at around the 68-69 degree Fahrenheit range for an ale. And that temperature isn't really attainable in the Indian subcontinent. For the English colonists that were living in India at the time, they needed beer to be produced back in England and then exported over to India. There's really no definitive period of when the IPA officially came about. It had a slow transitional evolution from the Pale Ale. And the Pale Ale is very much like an IPA. It just doesn't have quite the level hops in it as a full-blown IPA. And slowly brewers started adding more and more hops to these pale ales, and eventually that's how the IPA style split off from just a regular pale ale. If you ask other beer connoisseurs about an IPA, you'll either hear that they love it or they hate it. And the reason for that, the IPA has some of the strongest flavors of any beer, and it has the strongest hop presence of any style of beer. And today I'm going to talk about some of the offshoot categories from the basic IPA. Certainly not going to be comprehensive. Due to its popularity, it seems like there's a new subset category coming out every couple weeks. But we'll definitely go over the main types of IPAs and my favorite styles of IPA. Living in the United States, American beer culture really got its start out on the West Coast, especially the Northwest. IPA culture also began out there, and it's been spreading across the country for the last decade or so. So the first style we're going to talk about is the West Coast IPA. What makes the West Coast IPA different from its European origins is the different kinds of hops that are used in it. There are hops that are native to North America, and those species of hops can hybridize with old world hop species, which allowed brewers to make a lot of different hop varieties that weren't in existence before. And hybridizing all these plants together is where we produced most of our contemporary variants of hops. And with this, the West Coast brewers had a lot more options of what hops they could put in their IPAs than their European forebears. These new West Coast IPAs had very hop-forward, fruity, piney, floral flavors that were coming off these hops. So if you want to have a very hop-forward drink that focuses on fruit or pine, a West Coast IPA might be for you. What is a double or imperial IPA? Well, an imperial IPA is for people who like alcohol. You get one of those beers by adding extra malt extra grain into your brewing process. That way it has additional sugars to it and it produces more alcohol. This produces an IPA that has a thicker body and a higher ABV, or alcohol by volume. I like Imperial IPA. It does have a good flavor, and especially at the end of a long day, if you're just wanting to have one beer or two, I think the Imperial IPA is a good option. Nothing takes the edge off a hard day quite like a stiff beer. But that being said, it does have its critics. You can sometimes taste the alcohol in it, which some people don't like. It also has a thick body, like I said. So if you're not into hearty beers, it might not be a good option for you. In somewhat of that same category, there are barrel-aged IPAs. A barrel-aged IPA is usually a regular IPA that gets put into an old whiskey barrel, bourbon barrel, scotch barrel. So if you enjoy hard alcohols and you want to have it in a lighter beer form, I would suggest a barrel-aged IPA. What is a New England IPA, or NEPA? A NEPA is a style originating out on the East Coast, obviously, and it has a very fruity, milky complexion to it. You get that high viscosity and cloudiness by putting oats in your brew. You also don't filter New England IPAs. Well, the New England IPA is probably the best IPA for somebody who doesn't like an IPA, because they're never very bitter, they're pretty fruity. In most cases, they actually look similar to a glass of orange juice, and they have a very juicy component to them. I like NEPAs. They're not my favorite type of IPA, but I think they're a very good IPA. I like bitter beers, so it's not my favorite category, but a NEPA is a beer you can drink. You can drink it all day long. It's a very even beer. It's not very assaulting. It's a very pleasant drink. What is a black IPA? A black IPA is really just a stout or a porter that you hopped like a regular IPA. You're using a lot of dark malts to get that roasted coffee flavor and to get it into a dark beer. But it's counterbalanced by this heavy hop aroma and flavor and bitterness that you usually don't have in a traditional porter or stout. You can hop all beers like an IPA. I can let your imagination fill in the gaps on how many insane styles of IPA that produces. But of the non-IPA beers that have been turned into IPAs, black IPAs are probably your most common variant of that. You also have fruit IPAs. Citrus is most commonly done with IPAs. Grapefruit is a common one from the citrus family that's used in IPAs. My favorite IPA is a red IPA. A red IPA is like a traditional IPA, only that it has rye added into its grain bill. Rye and an IPA is just a match made in heaven. Truly a wonderful creation. Especially if you can just get a nice juicy burger with a rye bun on it. It's like, so good. Perfect combination. But, the people that don't like IPAs already probably aren't going to like a red IPA because rye has a really strong flavor. So if you're not into strong flavors, a red IPA probably isn't for you. Let me know down below if you like IPAs and what your favorite style of IPA is if you do. And feel free to talk about any of the other multitude of styles that I didn't mention and some of the elements that you like from those styles. Here at Clan of the Cave Brewer, we are a growing community of beer aficionados, and I hope you join the clan today. I look forward to getting to know every single one of you, and as always, sláinte, and have a great day.